Welcome, have a nice day. Today is Thursday, 29th of August 2024. From the history point of view, in India, this day is celebrated as National Supporters Day. The day marks the birth anniversary of the legendary Indian hockey player Major Dhyan Chand. Starting the newspaper analysis with the newspaper, The Hindu states that FAA grounded SpaceX after rocket falls over in flames at landing. This image created from SpaceX video shows the moment when the SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket's first stage fell over in flames after landing on an ocean platform offshore Wednesday, August 28, 2024 in the Atlantic Ocean. The Federal Aviation Administration (FAA) grounded the SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket and ordered an investigation following the pre-dawn accident. SpaceX launches are on the hold after a booster rocket dropped over in the flames while landing on the Wednesday, August 28, 2024. The Federal Aviation Administration (FAA) grounded the company's Falcon 9 rocket and ordered in an investigation following the pre-dawn accident of fluoride exhaust. No injuries or public damage were reported. A magnitude 6.1 earthquake rattles El Salvador with no immediate reports of injuries or damage. 6.1 magnitude earthquake in El Salvador causes no damage felt in Guatemala, with no tsunami risk reported. An earthquake with a magnitude of 6.1 rattled El Salvador on Wednesday, August 28, 2024, with no initial damage reported, according to a report from the United States Geological Survey. The quake which took place 37 miles 60 kilometers off coast of the western region of La Libertad, shook much of the Central American nation. The tremor was followed by two strong aftershocks, magnitude of 4.1 and 4.5. Salvadoran President Nayib Bukele wrote on X. Environment ignored in considering sites for Nicobar infrastructure project, Jairam Ramesh says. Congress leader Jairam Ramesh. The Congress spokesperson wrote in a letter to Environmental Minister Bhupendra Yadav that the EAC had pointed out that the location of the project was not based on the environmental considerations. The Environment Minister is go ahead with the 72,000 crore infrastructure project in the Nicobar Islands had not considered at the least environmentally destructive site at Campbell Bay. Despite an expert appraisal committee pointing out that the project location had been chosen purely on technical and financial criteria and not on environmental ones, Congress spokesperson and Rajya Sabha Member of Parliament Jairam Ramesh wrote in a letter to Environment Minister Bhupendra Yadav. Moreover, the bulk of the project was commercial, and there was little reason to keep the report of a high-powered committee confidential on the grounds that the project had strategic and defense imperatives, Mr. Ramesh added. Contesting Mr. Yadav's claims that the native tribes such as Champagne would not be affected, the Congress leader said the project would invite a large influx of people and tourists, which the tribes would be ill-equipped to navigate. Now going towards the Hindustan Times newspaper states that Bengal Bandh sparks clashes on the streets of Kolkata. Workers from the BJP workers blocked roads and trains and they clashed with the police and Trinamool Congress workers from early morning to enforce the Editorial statewide ban, the second such agitation in 2 days. A 12-hour ban called by the Bharatiya Janata Party over the rape and murder of a young doctor sparked fiery clashes on the streets of Kolkata on Wednesday and stalled life in other parts of West Bengal, even as politics mounted over the gruesome crime that has stunned India and stalked sweeping protests. Prime Minister praises Jan Dhan Yojana on 10th anniversary. Congress says rebranding of initiatives. Prime Minister Narendra Modi congratulated the beneficiaries of the Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana (PMJDY), a scheme aimed at enhancing financial inclusion across India as it celebrated its 10th anniversary on the Wednesday, expressing gratitude to everyone who contributed to the mission's success. Chinese students to learn about 1962 India-China War in their latest history books. Indian Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru addresses Jawanas in the Ladakh in 1962. New Delhi, the new Chinese history textbooks to be rolled out for school students next month includes information about 1962 India-China War. Media reports said on Wednesday as Beijing focuses on strengthening a sense of national security among its citizens and pushes to embed President Xi Jinping's political and economic philosophy in society. The textbooks, which also contain a rare mention of this 1979 China-Vietnam War, will be distributed from the upcoming autumn semester in the Chinese schools to students in the first and seventh grades. A report in the Hong Kong-based South China Morning Post (SCMP) said, citing national broadcaster China Central Television (CCTV), with the India-China has a border dispute with Vietnam. It claims nearly the entire South China Sea, a claim disputed by several maritime neighbors, including Vietnam, Philippines, Brunei, Malaysia, and Indonesia, besides Taiwan. Among the topics highlighted in the new textbooks on language, morality, and law in Xi Jinping thought on socialism with the Chinese characteristics for a new era enshrined in China's constitution in the 2018, the SCMP report added. Now, going to the economy of the country from the business point of view, Labour Minister seeks suggestions from trade unions to formulate the employment-linked incentive schemes. The minister has sought suggestions from trade unions to formulate the ELI schemes, which he has stressed have been designed to encourage businesses to generate more employment and provide meaningful and sustainable jobs for the youth. Union Labour and Employment Minister Mansukh Mandavia said. Cabinet approves 12 industrial smart cities to super investment outlays rupees 28,602 crore. The cabinet approval followed the finance minister Nirmala Sitharaman's announcement during the union budget speech, in which she outlined a plan to sanction 12 industrial parks under the National Industrial Corridor Development Program and IDCDB. Union Minister Mr. Piyush Goyal. Our polity lacks reform capability to spur 9 to 11% growth, Richard Sharma. For 30 to 40 years, China was the world's biggest success story. It did not happen naturally. The kind of reforms that China carried out in those years is something of polity I don't think it is capable of carrying out, Sharma said. They can clock a GDP growth rate of 6 to 7%, but this polity lacks the capability to carry out a reform that can support growth in the range of 9 to 11%, said Richard Sharma, global investor, fund manager, and author of the best-selling books. Richard Sharma, chairman of the Rockefeller International and founder and chief investment officer of Breakout Capital at Express Adda event in Mumbai on Tuesday. Now going over the world news, including Kamala Harris can go to hell. She is a disgraceful, says J.D. Vance on United States Afghanistan withdrawal. My voice is not a forbidden. Afghan woman seeing post videos to protest against Taliban's new law. French judges indict Telegram CEO over the alleged criminal activity gets bail. Typhoon Shanshan dumps rain on parts of Japan, leaving 1 dead and several injured. Major 9/11 outage hits United States, several cities in California, Texas, Alabama, Ohio affected. FBI says gunmen spent a month seeking a target, then settled on Trump. Going to the science and tech, we have establishing a carbon market. Emissions trading, often known as a cap and trade, is a market-based approach to controlling pollution by providing economic incentives for achieving reductions in the emissions of pollutants. Climate change is not about equity concerns alone, but also about searching for viable options to move away from excessive dependence on fossil fuels. In her budget speech, the finance minister signaled that the polluting industries such as iron, steel, and aluminum will have to confirm the emission targets, a roadmap for moving at the hard to abate industries from energy efficiencies. Targets to emission targets will be formulated. Appropriate regulations for transition of these industries from the current perform, achieve, and trade PAT mode of the Indian carbon market mode will be put in place, she said. Current Chandipur virus infection in India, considered the largest in 20 years, World Health Organization says. A health worker fumigates a slums area to prevent the spread of the Chandipur virus in Ahmedabad, India, 31st of July 2024. And the further transmission is possible in the coming weeks, considering the favorable conditions for the vector populations during the monsoon season in the affected areas. One is World Health Organization. The current outbreak of the Chandipur virus (CHPV) infected in India is considered the largest in the past 20 years. And while authorities are making the efforts to control the transmission of CHPV, further transmission is possible in the coming weeks. Considering the favorable conditions for affected population during the monsoon season of the affected areas, warned the World Health Organization in its latest disease outbreak news on acute encephalitis syndrome due to the Chandipur virus in India. While World Health Organization has not recommended any general travel trade restrictions based on the available information, it maintained that surveillance efforts should be enhanced in high-risk areas, focusing on people at risk, such as children younger than the 15 years presenting with acute onset of fever and central nervous system symptoms. Dengue virus survivors at a higher risk of long-term health issues compared to COVID-19 patients. Study a fever at a hospital in the Hyderabad where patients with the dengue have been admitted. Cases of viral fever have been spreading in the state for the past few days. Study conducted in the Singapore found that the patients who suffered from the dengue have 55% higher risks of developing heart complications compared to patients infected with the viral COVID-19 infection. Patients who recovered from dengue had higher chance of developing long-term health complications compared to those who had COVID-19 in the year of the following initial infection, according to the study among the Singapore residents. The study found that the patients who suffered from the dengue have 55% higher risks of developing heart complications such as irregular heartbeat, rhythm, and blood clots compared to patients infected with the viral COVID-19 infection. United States Surgeon General calls parent stress a public health challenge. President Joe Biden's legislation ensuring a paid family and medical leave for Americans was thwarted by Republicans and some Democrats in Congress. Surgeon General Vivek Murthy highlighted a long list of issues that stress our parents and called for policy changes and better community support for them or the caregivers and families as a whole. The United States Surgeon General on Wednesday, August 28, 2024, issued a public health advisory about the impact of the modern stress on parents' mental health, calling on government, business, and community organizations to increase resources to provide them more support. The advisory issued by Surgeon General Vivek Murthy, who has used the format previously to address the risks from the gun violence and the social media on youth, highlighted a long list of issues that stress our parents and called for policy changes and better community support for them, other caregivers, and family as a whole. IIT Bombay researchers show one way how animals find their way home, part taken by a homing robot and a magnified view of the robot. Researchers at IIT Bombay are using robots to mimic animals to understand how they find their way back home. Researchers at IIT Bombay are using robots to understand how animals find their way back home from a unfamiliar places, a cycle called the homing. Nitin Kumar, assistant professor at the Department of Physics at IIT Bombay, explained the primary goal of our research group is to understand the physics of active and living system. We achieve this by performing experiments on a centimeter-sized self-propelled programmable robots. In simple words, we model these robots to mimic the dynamic of the living organisms, both at the individual and the collective levels. Last, there is a famous quotation said by a famous president of India, Mullah Kalam, whose full name was Abdul Kalam Ghulam Mahidin Ahmed bin Karuddin Al-Hassani Azad. Birth anniversary 11 November 1888 up to 22nd of February 1950. It was an Indian independence activist, writer, and a senior leader of the Indian National Congress. Following India's independence, he became the first Minister of Education in the Indian government. He is commonly remembered as Maulana Azad. The word Maulana is an honorific meaning our master, and he has and he had adopted Azad Free as his pen name. His contribution to establishing the Education Foundation in India is recognized by the celebrating his birthday as a National Education Day across India. In October 1920, Azad was elected as a member of the founding committee to establish Jamia Millia Islamia at Aligarh and Uttar Pradesh. Without taking help from the British colonial government, he assisted in shifting the campus of the university from Aligarh to New Delhi in 1934. The main gate number 7 to the main campus of the university is named after him. Azad was one of the main organizers of the Darsanad Satyagraha in 1931 and emerged as one of the most important national leaders of the time, prominently leading the cause of Hindu-Muslim unity as well as the opposing secularism and socialism. He served as a Congress president from 1940 to 1945, during which the Quit India Rebellion was launched. Azad was imprisoned together with the entire Congress leadership. He also worked for the Hindu-Muslim unity through the Al-Hilal newspaper. Mr. Azad says a famous quotation. He says that many people plant trees, but few of them get fruit of it. He also says that climbing to the top demands strength, whether it is the top of the Mount Everest or the top of your career. He also says that every Indian who desires freedom and strives for it must be his own guide, urging him or her on a long, hard road where there is no resting place and which leads ultimately to the independence of India. Okay, thank you.